Good. All right, Parashat Shemot. Hey, Ribby. Parashat Shemot, guys, start taking. Parashat Shemot, we read about the exile and this horrible time of oppression that Am Israel had experienced in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, after a new king came, a new Pharaoh, and he was cruel, and he was ungrateful, and he forgot completely the great contribution of yourself to the kingdom of Egypt. Also, in this week's Parashat Shemot, we have the first time introduction with Moshe Rabbeinu, with Moses, the savior of Am Israel, what we call the loyal shepherd of Am Israel, with the greatest task that he had achieved from God his job was to lead the Jews, to lead Am Israel, and to redeem them, to lead them from salvation, from slavery to salvation. And this whole entire dramatic and great, awesome maneuvering, which we started to read this week, Be'ezrat Hashem, in Parashat Shemot, would really accompany us until the end of the Torah, until the end of when we stop reading that around Simchat Torah, together with the entrance of the Jews to the land. Yeah, these are my new reading glasses, so I can actually read what I wrote. The journey that Am Israel had passed, or they had to go through, is a tremendous historical event, a tremendous epic historical event. And the chulent, by the way, Idan made. So it's it's delicious chulent meat and all. And this year is dedicated to Refuah Shlema of Chaim Israel ben Batia Levi, and to Clara Rachel bat Fegel Sarah, and Efrat by Fegel Sarah, and Shachaf bat Lilach, and also Leilui Nishmat Amnon ben Nekadam and Bella bat Rivka. There were the on behalf of them, we have in this wonderful chulun today, so thank you very much. However, this journey, besides being an epic historical journey, is important, but much more important is a beacon to us and a guide for us and a living guide for us, indication to the spiritual journey of each and every one of us that need and can go through his life. Now, and 3,300 years after those events that happened, whatever was said in the parasha is still relevant to us, Rabotai, still relevant to us. Each and every one of us is in his own private Egypt. What do I mean? Mitzrayim is mishum meitzer, lehatzer is to stretch, to constrict. Each and every one of us is in that stage to one way or another, for one reason or another. Each and every one of us. And we can only learn from this parasha how to come out of our own also personal Egypt. So that's why we should pay very close attention to this following weeks in terms of what exactly is going on. So now, going from exile to redemption, from slavery to freedom, is basically our life journey, our life purpose, and that's what we, Be'ezrat Hashem, will talk about today. The Midrash asked us, if Bnei Israel, if the Jews were in such a low level of purity, in other words, we know that they enter 49 gates of impurity. 49 gates of impurity. Why did they merit altogether to come out and to accomplish the tikkun, the fix-up that needed to be done? Why did they need to come out of Mitzrayim? I mean, listen, you're so bad. What happened? And what merit did they do it? They were in such a low level that when they stood about to cross the Red Sea, the forces of evil, the district attorney, as they say, said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how do you allow Am Israel to live in Mitzrayim and I mean to the Jews to live and to Egyptians to die? How? Why is that? Because both of them are on the same low spiritual level. The Jews in Egypt immersed themselves in every filth that the Egyptians were doing. So how is it possible? Why is this? It's not fair, basically. But so if we're going to look at this, so what was really going on? Why did they able to do it? And this is a tremendous lesson to all of us. What allows us to come out of Egypt was the outlook of God to that particular particle in Bnei Israel, which is the particle that exists in any human being, that could never be, and especially by a Jew, that could never be blemished. It's pure. It's beyond our ability to ruin and to destroy. That exists in everyone. And this is the part that never gets contaminated and doesn't get dirty and does not become impure. Even if you do horrible things, that's always going to stay pure in you. So now that's another reason, or another way to look at tzaddik veralo rasha v'tov lo mi yodea. We don't know exactly how HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at things and does things, and that's not for us to examine. We should not be asking those questions. We'll see later on why asking too many questions is bad for you. Questions should be asked to clarify, to do better. But just certain questions should not be asked, and I'm going to tell you why. And that's the question that everybody asks all the time. Where was God here? Where was God there? When people ask, where was God in the Holocaust? Where was God in October 7th? Well, he was in the same place where you were doing what you were not supposed to be doing. The same place. Nothing changed. Don't ask those questions because it's beyond your ability to understand. And this is the kind of question you don't want an answer to anyway. So, the Geulah, redemption, can come because HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not concentrate on the person that is right now at the lowest of all lowest impurities. He didn't look at the person, but rather HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked at the neshama of the person, on that part, the particle that could never be blemished, and that particle is complete, it's perfect inside of each and every one of us. That's why a person should never be mityaesh, also never give up from his own wrongdoing. There's a chance for you to change if you want, but it's only if you want. The Mekubalim tells us that the reason that Bnei Israel merited that redemption was because HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked at that particle, which was perfect. But even more important than that, right, is how could we awaken this merit for ourselves as well? Is there a way that we could awaken that to really, reflect a certain light over our life, so we could benefit from it, or we could not fall down? Is there a way for us to do so? And the answer is, I mean, you might not agree with me, but I'm going to tell you the answer seems to be pretty simple. And why is that? Because we know, what do we know, Idan? We know, that I already said. We know that in the same way in which you refer to God, God refers to you. You determine how much of God is going to be in your life. And according to your will, God is going to be in your life. The way you act to God, that's how much God acts to you. You said that you don't believe in God, but you could choose not to believe in God. We're not going to burn you in a stake if you choose not to believe in God. But don't come crying wolves when the wolves actually are banging on your door. Don't ask me where God was when you asked for salvation, when you didn't look for Him the rest of your life. That's the way it is. The way also we refer to other people. And that's why we say, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. The way we act to other people. Right? The way we act to other people is the way in which the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu reflects on us as well. In other words, our actions are a reflector for God's life. If we are a black hole, no light will come out. If we are a pure reflector, right, the pure light will come in, and that's the level that Moshe Rabbeinu came, which is called it Aspaklaria Meira. He was a perfect reflection. In other words, the light that came in, there's a light that came out without any distortion whatsoever. How pure are you? And that really corresponds with what we are doing in the morning in terms of the Mesilat Yesharim. Now, and so therefore that means that if that person finds a good spark, he finds a good place in the heart of someone, right? When you see him doing something bad, right? Don't look just at what he did bad. Look at what good inside there is in him also. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you're going to be able to do that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to also look at you in a good way regardless of what you do. Regardless that your actions are not bad, are not so good, are not perfect, God would look at you as you're perfect because this is how you choose to reflect to others. You determine, in other words, your own fate. You determine your fate. You determine what people call luck. There's no such thing as luck. Luck is is the bed that you made for yourself. That's the bed you're going to sleep in. You cook, then we say, Misha tarach be'erev Shabbat, yochal be'Shabbat. You prepare food, you're going to eat food. You didn't prepare food, don't come crying, I'm hungry. Why? Nobody tells you to go play, I don't know, NFL when you should have get ready to get something to eat. It's very simple. You put in the effort, you get result. And that's why parents are mistaken by allowing their children to go without any kind of responsibility, without any consequences to the actions, because what you're doing, you're thinking you are so nice and so overwhelmingly with chesed to your kids. What you're doing to your kids, you're actually bringing din on them. That chesed to no end would lead to din. The kids are going to bring judgments on themselves. And that's not good. So after the split of the Red Sea and them going free, while they were in the desert, Bnei Israel start to complain about how difficult it is and the conditions, and it's a long, long journey. And they remember about the great food that they had in Mitzrayim, the shish kebab that they had, and the fried fish, and the whatever else they ate there. However, some learned that from this description, that from a materialistic point of view, it wasn't really so bad for them, regardless of what the Midrashim like to tell us. It wasn't so bad. I mean, listen, you ate fish, you ate watermelons, you ate cucumbers, fresh fruit all the time, mango, pina colada, whatever you had there, right? Life was not so bad for you. It actually was pretty good. So therefore, what was so difficult in the exile of Egypt? What was so difficult there? Or if we're going to be more specific, what's so difficult in any type of galut, in any type of exile, per se? Not necessarily in Egypt, anywhere throughout history. So in the pshat, in the simple way to look at things, we know that when we are not in our country and there are goyim around us, the nations around us, we, and pay attention, cannot really protect ourselves. We can't really protect ourselves because you're in the mercy of the nations. And as a proof of that, almost all throughout history, Jews were persecuted, they were harmed, and so on and so forth. There's no difference between the world today than the world 200, 300, 500,000 years ago. Unfortunately, and we'll see later on, even in Israel to a certain extent, in the land of Israel, the way we operated, I don't care how secular you are or how religious you are, we brought the galut with us to Israel. I just can't believe those people that moved to Israel, right? And again, I said it to you again. They're looking for Anglo-friendly, communities. Communities that are going to be all English speakers. So why in the world did you move to Israel? To be around Americans? I don't understand that. If you wanted an Anglo-friendly community, you should have stayed in, Kew Garden Hills. Should have stayed in Flatbush. You should have stayed in whatever you stayed in, Miami. Or Muncie, or whatever it is you stay in, or West Hempstead, or East Norwich, I don't know, whatever you stay in. You moved to Israel to be with Israelis, not with Anglos. That's a problem, by the way. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. And there's a mistake. I don't understand. You moved to Israel and you speak Yiddish. You don't speak a word of Hebrew. What in the world is wrong with you? And you're very proud of that. I don't know. It's pointless to me. No wonder you don't want to go to the army and join and help people. No wonder you don't see yourself a part of it. It's very obvious to me. I don't care. You like it, you don't like it, go drink cold water. I don't really care. I'm telling you this straight out like this. We don't need to play games. We have to stop with those games already. So, however, being an exile, or exile itself, has many other meanings. The Zohar gives us a deep understanding and a beautiful understanding on the true essence of what is to mean to be in Gola, in exile. And he says that oppression or to a certain way is a way to control. Shi'abud is a way to control. And Shi'abud is a way, the Galut is really oppressing the mind or trying to control somebody's mind and his spirit and not necessarily the body. And if you see, that's exactly the effort of the world today to the Jews that live in Israel to break the spirits, to break the way they think, to demoralize. That's exactly what is happening today. Yeah.
So Galus is if
I'll wait for Galut. I'll wait. Not Galus. It's called Galut. We'll wait for this. Hold on one second. So, and sometimes, and that is the true Jewish spirit. That really is this thing on?
It's gonna.
No,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so just stop moving the table because it's like shaking like an earthquake. So, the Jewish spirit that we have, the true Jewish spirit, is really in a state of about to pass out, almost like dizziness, right? And of course, it is what makes us unique and special in the world, and really identifies and helps us guide us to our journey and to our job in the world. And why? Because so many things could really affect your psyche, the way you feel, and so on and so forth, and trying to really continuously bombard you and control the way you think, the way you feel, and what you feel, and so on and so forth. So you see from here that Galut, exile, it's something that I've been saying to you numerous times, is a state of mind and not necessarily a territorial thing. And I told you this again numerous times, that I'm living here in the States already for 37 years, and I did not feel the essence of Galut, of exile, until I went with my son to a bar mitzvah trip in Israel, and we were standing in front of Sha'ar Hulda on the southern wall, and my son said to me, I showed to my son, I said, well, these are the gates of Hulda. From here, these are the steps. They used to go to Har HaBayit, and the pilgrimage used to make they used to come from the city of David, and they used to go up, but now it's closed with bricks. Just to me, so one second, I don't understand. So why don't they open it? At that moment, I understood that we are in Israel, in Yerushalayim, and in Israel, in Yerushalayim, near the wall, near the Temple Mount, on the Temple Mount, I felt what's the essence of Galut. And I realized Galut is the way you think and not the way you are. It's very possible, right, that, you can still live in Israel and mentally still feel exile mentality, exile thinking, and dissidence and distance from the people. And those people that live in Israel that do not want to serve in the IDF are in a state of Galut. They don't feel that they belong. They don't feel they have a part of the land. They're like for all they're concerned, they might be in Australia as far as they are concerned. Maybe people in Australia would feel closer, a greater need to come to serve than the people that they sit in Bnei Brak or in Mea Shearim or in Ramot Bet Shemesh. Put this in your heads. It's very possible that a person could be, his body is going to be free, but he's going to be in a prison of negativity, of negative thoughts, of fears, of anxiety, of frustration. There are many people among us that drive brand new Beamers or Mercs or whatever is Teslas or whatever it is you're going to drive there. And you live with tremendous villas and mansions with 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever bedrooms with jacuzzis and mirrors on the wall and pink champagne on ice. You might have great families, beautiful families, great health, and still they are captives. And they feel captives by being depressed, by giving up, with sadness. And every single thing that does not happen or happens breaks the spirit. Unless they get exactly what they want, if there is a small deviation, they already throw a fit. That person is in prison. He's a prison. He's a prisoner. Okay, so this is a little difficulties. No, so what? You want to go to the gym. You want to go to the gym. You want to lift weights. You want to get ripped. You want to get shredded, but you don't want to have any cramps. You don't want to have any soreness. That's not going to happen. One of the pleasures of going to the gym is to get sore, right, Israel? No, you don't. You don't like to get sore after you work out? I love to get sore after I do a workout. If I don't get sore, I don't feel that I did a workout. If I'm not tired on Erev Shabbat, it does, for me, it feels like I didn't work hard enough. If I'm not exhausted when I'm coming to the Seder, I don't feel like I cleaned well enough. I like the difficulties. It's like a steel. You need to forge it. How do you forge the steel? You put it in high temperature. You take a hammer, you beat the daylight out of it. You heat it up again. You put it in cold oil, cold water, extreme, and then you get a fine steel, a perfect steel. You could take the perfect steel, never do anything to it. It's going to be useless. You can make a knife, it won't hold an edge, and it will fall, it will break. So if you don't get your way, you throw a hissy fit, or you start complaining and crying, you know that you're a prisoner. You're not a free man. You're not. However, there are people that other people control them, and they oppress them physically, but mentally, they are free as freaking good. As free bird, as they say. And I'm sure that with all the difficulties and all the sadness and the people there in captivity in the Hamas, there are still people that our spirits are not broken, regardless of the difficulties they had. We know that the 6 captives that were shot in cold blood in the tunnels fought before they died. We know that. Are you willing to give up? Are you this kind of a person? Are you going to throw a hissy fit and cry like a little baby? Or be a man. Tough it up. Own your decisions. Own your mistakes. Own them. Fix them. Move on. That's a free man. That's a free man. Not the one who cries and whines and would never take responsibility and dump the responsibility to everybody else. That doesn't work. Yosef HaTzadik is an example for that. A person that was at the bottom of the pit. From the bottomless pit. And then he got redemption. How? Right? He was smart. He understood that he needs to stay a free man in his spirit. Yes, I'm in the pit, but I'm a free man in my spirit. Bnei Israel had experienced in Egypt 3 different things. And they were crying all the time. And the Torah tells us they were crying for what? What's 3 things? Avodah kasha, hard work, right? What else? Chomer and levinim.
The Jews?
The Jews, yes.
When they were in slavery?
Yeah, well, yes, we're in slavery. So what is avodah kasha? Hard work. Well, there are many explanations. One of the explanations is avodah kasha is they reverse roles. The Egyptians reverse roles, right? And pay attention to that. They gave the men the woman's job, and they give the women's the men's job. Okay, terrific. I understand the women's job. You give a woman, start schlepping 2x4s all day long and bang stuff and lift. I understand it's hard for her. I understand that. A man should be happy. I mean, a lot of guys like to stay home and do absolutely nothing. Sit down home, make what's in that? What's so difficult for a man to do a woman's job? It's the spirit. So there is breaking a person in the body, which the women did the men's job, and the men doing the women's job, they broke the spirit. One of the things that we have today in society is to break your spirit. You don't know anymore if you're a man or a woman, for crying out loud. So that's one thing. Avodah kasha also, the Zohar says, comes from kushiyot. That's what we said before. Kushiyot means asking questions. Each and every one of us, and it doesn't make a difference if you know the whole entire Shas by heart or you never learned a daf of Gemara in your life. Each and every one of us has questions. Why is the work so difficult, right? Why I don't have what I want? Why didn't I get what I want? Why this one got more than me? Why you give him and not me? And so on and so forth, right? Why does my wife understand me? Why my husband doesn't understand me? Why my children are not so successful as this guy's children? Why they're not, and so on and so forth, right? Why I'm working so hard and it's very hard for me to finish the month and pay my payments. Why? I don't understand. Why I don't have any time for myself? I work so hard. I need some time for myself. I need a break. Of course, this is when you start making a mistake and you start feeling entitled and you live above your means, above and beyond your means, and then you fall into debt, and you lose your credit, and then you blame everybody besides again yourself. But that is a problem here. All these questions that we always have really make our life miserable. And those question marks that we always put on, instead of question mark, learn to start putting exclamation marks. Make statements, don't ask questions. All this question mark really oppress us and steal all the positive forces of being rejoicing and having willing to create and to work and to try and to experiment. That's why you can have twins. One is a winner, one is a loser. One asks the question, why me? Why do I have to do this? Why this? Why this? Why this? Why this? Why Delilah, as the song says. The other one says, oh, it's opportunity. Oh, I'll do this. I'll work hard. Yes, I'm gonna, it's the choices you make in life. So stop asking why. Stop rolling the dice. Start doing what needs to be done. Many of us feel unsatisfied from our lives. They don't want to get up in the morning to go to work. They feel many times that they picked up the wrong spouse. They feel that they didn't act wisely when they were young. They're very concerned about their mortgages, about the payments, about paying the credit card, and so on and so forth. They feel that you live near your life, alongside your life. You're not actually experiencing your life. That's the feeling that we have, this empty feeling that kills us, that really miss up the essence of life. And in a way, we lose any interest of living. We don't want to live anymore. Like, I can't wait to die. You hear it from people like, I can't wait to retirement, or, and so on and so forth. All these doubts really confuse us and make us weaker. And the source of all these questions and all those doubts is in lack of emunah that we have in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we don't really believe in God, and we don't believe that God really runs the business here in a complete precision according to a plan, which is perfect. And really wants whatever is good for us and really loves us. And if you're going to realize that, maybe you can sing the song, it's going to be better and better and better and better and better and better and better. If you just understand that. You don't understand that. You think it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So regardless of how much light you have, guys, you know what? It's like a person, it reminds me of the story about the person that was blind and was walking with a stick. And he asked somebody to help him. And the person helped him. And he says, I'll show you where to walk. And then turned up to be this person led him over the cliff. And only when the guy reached over the cliff, he was hanging out in the air, and realized that what? He was never blind. He just closed his eyes all the time. So are you. Open your eyes. You're not blind. You just choose not to see. If God is not away from you, He's here, right here, around you, inside of you, among us, all the time. You just choose not to see. You're not blind. You just close your eyes. A big problem is, or a portion of the problem is, that when you're going to wake up, it's going to be too late. You're going to wake up when God says, hey, how you doing, guys? He says, what do you mean? Are you God? He says, yes. He says, a person doesn't see me is alive. So you're right, you're dead. But guess what? I was here all the time around you. Just open your eyes. Stop complaining. Stop being so negative. So, and if we would really internalize 100% this understanding, we would never feel a moment of confusion, a moment of frustration, a moment of sadness. As Chazal tells us, En simcha kehatarat asfekot. There's no joy like undoing,
solutions.
Or finding solution. Fine, I call it this way. You don't know, find a solution. That's why people are obsessed with problems. People are obsessed with creating problems. Most people, not only that they don't want to, are not interested in finding solutions. You find somebody a solution and say, listen, here's the solution. You have a problem, do A, B, and C. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to do it. And one way for you guys to do it is stop watching the news. Stop. There's nothing you can do about what you see in the news. Nothing you can do about it. But there's much you can do about your life. Stop with it. Stop with it. And I'm so happy that they're going to stop, thank God, with this TikTok. I'm so happy. Maybe finally you guys are going to do something with your lives. Read a book, for crying out loud. How many of you actually took a book and read and finished a book? I don't know. Read Mark Twain. I don't care what you read. Read a book, for crying out loud. I don't understand that. You never read a book? I was going to tell me, no, it's Bitul Torah. I need to learn. But you're not even learning. You're making excuses. You're not learning. Read a book. If you learn all week long, Shabbat afternoon, sit down, read a book. Instead of taking a nap like a dead body, stop drinking so much on Shabbat. Take a book and read. I don't know, I don't know, who should you read? I don't know. Jack London, I don't know. Read Tolstoy, I don't care, read whatever you want. Read Larry McMurtry, learn some, I don't know, read something. Read a book. Read the adventures of, I don't know what, who? Huckleberry Finn is great, but I was thinking Henry Bush. There's a whole series of this, like detective stories. Take a book and read. Read biographies, read something. Read David Goggins, I don't care what you read. I like David Goggins. But stop with those stupid questions that you have. Why this and why that? You know why? Those questions, you don't want to hear the answers. So if you're asking a question, you don't want to hear the answer, guess what? Don't ask. So that's avodah kasha, that's hard work. Chomer, according to the Zohar, mishum chumrot. The chamur severs, a person is serious, you lost the joy of laughing. One thing that makes you lose the joy of laughing, you want to feel important. Stop feeling important. You know what's the biggest blessing for you? People are afraid that they're not going to remember. Nobody's going to remember you when I die. No, it's not such a bad idea anyway. Because if you live to be remembered all the time, people will forget you while you're alive. You could actually be free to do whatever you need to do, whatever you want to do. You can actually free to live life. Stop being most people are not remembered. How many people are remembered, let's say like the Rambam, like Maimonides, that every single day somebody is going to remember him? Most people won't, right? But let's say you want to be like the Rambam. I'll tell you something what my friend told me one time. He told one time his dad, he said, I want to do whatever I can. Because he asked him, what are you going to do now after college? He said, I want to do something to be remembered like the Rambam. So his father told him, he said, listen, you know how many people live between the Rambam and today? We're talking about billions of people. And yet only the Rambam is remembered like the Rambam. So instead of trying to be the Rambam because it's going to be a pointless point for you, try to be the best that you could be. Start thinking about remembering, start living your life. That is living life out of fear. That's not good. So start laughing a little bit. Enjoy. Smile. I don't say stand up and crack dirty jokes and go to stand up. I'm not talking about this. But enjoy life. Smile a little bit. Smile and the world will smile back at you. And even if it doesn't, at least you smile. You're in control of yourself. So, of course, there is also chomer mishum chumriyut. Chomer, raw material. Chumriyut is materialism. That we obsess with materialism. Of course, in our time, what did it say here on the dollar, the good old dollar bill, right? The good old dollar bill. Let me check what it says here. Oh my goodness. You know what it says here?
In God we trust.
In God we trust. In God we trust on the dollar. Now let me tell you the following. You think this God on the dollar is the God of Maaseh Bereshit, of creation. No, that's the God that sits in your bank account. That's the God in which you worship. It's your bank account you worship. You don't trust Hashem. If you would trust Hashem, you stop chasing it. You start living life according to what God wants, not according to what your bank account wants. What does it mean to us? It means to us that through our generation, the Yetzer Hara is trying to confuse us all the time, to tell us that the main point of your life is chasing and making money. Chase after money, money, pleasures, materialistic today. It seems to us today that really it won, and materialism became a new religion. Materialism is a part of liberalism that really tells you you can do whatever you want. It's a new religion that we are all become enslaved to the concept that happiness means wealth. In Hebrew, osher with aleph, vav, shin, resh, that's happiness. Osher with ayin means wealth. We think that that happiness and wealth is the same thing. It's not. It sounds the same, but it's not. How many people really ask God, Ribbon Shalom, please, I want to be happy in life? People say, no, I want to be wealthy. I haven't happy. If you're happy, you don't have to worry about the wealthy. You're happy with everything you have. But if you're healthy, not necessarily if you're wealthy, not necessarily you're happy. You can have a lot of money, be a miserable person. When in the world did you think that? When you make your decisions based about money, you are doomed not to be happy, not to feel fulfilled with your life. When was the last time you prayed to God and said, God, I want to live fulfilled life? When? Don't lie to me, you don't. God, please, I want to win the lottery. I want to do this. God, make this deal go through. I'll be so good to you. I'll put filling all day long. I'll every day I'll daven. Bli neder. I'll come to learn in Yeshiva, between swipes on the phone. What are you joking? You're not worshiping God. It's a different religion you're worshiping. Right? For us, it's like wealth is it's something that it's right around the corner. If we're going to get the flattest TV, the fastest car, the biggest house, the most beautiful wife, we don't care about her midot, her real character. We care about how she looks. It's all external. And then when push comes to shove, and all of a sudden you realize that you married the wrong person, not because there's something wrong with her. There was something wrong with the way you were looking. You were looking on the outside. Comes Shlomo HaMelech and tells us, Sheker Hachem ve'evel hayofi. Shlomo HaMelech had 1,000 women tell you, guys, you got it wrong. The most important thing is Yirat Shamayim. How much of your wife is Yirat Shamayim? Is she covering her hair? Does she wears mini skirts? Does she wear pants? Does she keep Shabbat mitzvot? Does she care about that? Does your wife want to go on a cruise? Does your wife want to go to Aruba, sit in a bathing suit? Really? And you okay with that? I don't understand that. That's chomriut, that's materialism. All the other nonsense that the world shows you in commercials, right? It looks everything beautiful on the outside, but really inside, it's empty. And so we became empty people. We all look very beautiful outside, very handsome outside. Some of you guys shave their chest, shave their legs, shave the leg and he was a she. But when push comes to shove, you crumble like aluminum foil. Worse than that, like a China doll, breaks. It's beautiful, but no substance. Give me a solid rock. I want to be like a solid rock. I don't want to be a China doll. I want to be a solid rock. It's ugly. I don't really care. I'm not going to crumble. I'm not going to fall apart. We don't need externalism. We don't need image. And we all after one thing, right? Which is not the right thing. The word paro means parua. Parua means, that's one of the things of paro, means wild, chaotic, right? There's no order, right? And comes paro, right? If you look at the word paro, right? Yeah. Right? So if you're going to take pay, And hey is what? What word do you get?
Pe.
Pe or po. And then resh and ayin,
Ra.
ra, po ra.
What's Pomi?
Po here.
Here's that.
Here's bad. He laughs at you. He laughs at you. One way to avoid paro, Rabotai, is create order in your life. You cannot operate through chaos. You can't build stability through chaos. You cannot do that, right? And he laughs at you all the way to the bank, Paro. On your backs. Stay away from the devil, right? That's what you've been told. But why do you let him in your house? He's going to be into you. And then there's another one. The last one is levenim. Levenim, maza levenim. Levenim bricks, also mishom, to turn something to white, right? Building the pyramids, and by the way, the pyramids used to be all coated with white
Lime?
white lime all around. It was a magnificent thing, right? But those bricks that we used to carry on our backs, building the city of Pitom and Ramses, really all of a sudden were replaced with other stuff that we carry on our backs, which is being sad, depressed, frustration, that really make our life very, very heavy and prevent us from becoming free. Many of us are immersed in this depression or frustration that we take the pills and it doesn't seem to help us. But to one of us, it's not necessarily an existential giving up or existential depression that we have in terms of that, but just like thoughts, just regular thoughts that life is a collection of burden, the stuff that we have to do, what kind of jobs, tasks that we have to do, that really we should not be happy, and they don't make us happy altogether. They don't give us any satisfaction or anything. It's just, listen, I gotta do it. I gotta go to work. I gotta do this. I gotta put feeling on it. It's a burden for me. That's why a person is not sameach on the mitzvot. He's not sameach. He's not coming to daven. That's why a person does not appreciate the Torah that was given to him to come and learn. He runs out of it because he thinks it's a burden for him. It's an obstacle for him to do. But what in the world are you doing with your life? You're doing absolutely nothing. So where are you running with your life? We got this disease of we want to do something and finish with it quickly, finish this. Why are you rushing? Then you're gonna look like this. Let me ask you a question. How many of us really understand or appreciate the importance of going to doctors? All of us. Doctors are important in life, right, Mr. Doctor? You want to be a dentist, second class. But let's say you want to be a doctor. Let's say you want to be, right? A doctor is important. It's important. So let's say, for example, Mr. Daniel, that should come here more often, Kung Fu master, wants to become a doctor. And he decided to go to, which one is a good medical school? Harvard Medical School, let's say. All right? NYU Medical School, good school. Yep. Don't go to Harvard, a whole bunch of anti-Semites. But let's say. Meanwhile, argument saying, Kidan is going to doctorate, but he wants to become, let's say, a medical doctor. Instead of that, he got his degree from a doctorate school online. Which one do you feel more comfortable going to? Daniel went to school. He went to school for, 12 years. You went to school 2 years, you finished this, you got like this. Why would you rather go to Daniel than, let's say, Chaz v'Shalom Idan? Why? Because you put 10 years. It's an effort. It's knowledge. 2 years is not good for me. And yet you want to do everything in like 2 seconds? You need to understand, you need to put some hard work in. You don't put hard work, it's going to look like it. I told you a million times. You do one thing, you do everything. The way you do one thing is you do everything. You do everything shelabella, that's how it's going to be the rest of your life. Quickly. No machshava, no thinking, nothing. Everything is a knee-jerk reaction to everything you do in your life. And your life is going to look like a blender. Like you put stuff, like a milkshake that you put everything inside. Put everything inside. And it's going to be murky. That's the problem. That's what gives us to depression. However, at least, for example, right? At least for people who are religious, at least their comfort is that they, if they're going to do mitzvot and they're going to do the right thing, maybe in the next world, the Olam Haba is going to give them, it's going to be a little better for them, and at least over there it's going to be good. Here I'm suffering. But the truth of the matter is that this world was given to us also for us to enjoy. Not just to suffer. On the contrary, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made this world for us to enjoy. That's why we have the commandment of having children. Why? We have children to share the good that God is giving us in this world. If you don't see it, you're not going to have kids. And that's a good reason not to have kids, because you don't see the good. And if you're such a negative person, well, why do you need to have kids? To make those kids even more miserable than you are. So this world is not some kind of like a lonesome, highway, or some kind of like a miserable train station, that you need to suffer through and then get through it and then pass it on. It's a place for us to enjoy and to benefit, and we can praise God. And this is the whole essence of this, the avodah of this world. And in this world, that's when we do the mitzvot and we see what God gave us and we appreciate it. Olam haba, you want to make a bracha, you can make a bracha. Here is to make a bracha. Making a bracha is, when I make a bracha, I'm about to eat an apple. I'm saying, man, I appreciate what God gave. God, I appreciate what you gave me. Thank you for the apple, for the fruit of the tree. And I smell it and I look at it and they said, this apple was created for me. A bracha for me is a way to say thank you, an appreciation of God. It's an acknowledgement that God is in the world and created it for me. It's not an obstacle for me to eat the apple. And again, and I told you this 1,000,000 times. Do you eat to make a bracha, or you make a bracha to eat? It's the same actions, but totally different reasons. Now, also the word libun, what we call is called, the Zohar says libun halacha. Libun halacha is clarifying. In other words, to really clarify what's really is important in your life. And what's really important in your life is, what's my job in this world? What does God want for me? The feeling of lack of meaning, and the existential lack of meaning that we have in our life is feeling not connecting with life, or punishments and so on and so forth, right? This feeling of not connecting, or not being able to enjoy life is probably or lack of meaning is probably the biggest punishment that there is out there. You think about punishments, this, that, hell, shmel. This is not a punishment. Punishment is to live life with no meaning. So we need to ask yourself, what am I here? Why am I chasing what I'm chasing all this time after nothing? I'm spending my life giving chase to nothing. Right? A person can work all day long and to come at the end of the day exhausted, falling apart from being tired, but really he hasn't done anything of a meaning throughout his whole day. His whole day, there was nothing meaningful in his day. This experience of galut, on the other hand, right, is when a person looks for meaning, but in imagination, he thinks that God is out there to get them. When you think that God is out there to get you, you're in exile. And as far as I'm concerned, you can sit in the kotel and still have this mindset. Going back to exile. That's exactly what they had in. God is out there to get me. God is not out there to get you. And the whole world is against you. A brave person, a bright person, a courageous person is going to stop and say, excuse me, what is the essence of my life? What did I come here for? What did I come here for? Right? And he's going to be there to deal with this whole entire answer and its full complexity, whatever it means, and whatever means from it. And sometimes after this kind of libun is also mishum to make white. It's like the same thing as going back to the steel. You make the steel white, only then you can change it. When the steel is cold and you hammer it, you're going to create fractures in it. You're going to create delaminations. You're going to create, stress fractures. Only when when the metal is white, you can shape it to what it needs to do. Only when you're sitting down and you clarify this thing, and you're going through it, only then you could actually make your life to shape into something. I don't understand these people, again, that just want to get through everything. Enjoying the view. The ride is more important. The journey is more important than the destination itself. Sometimes that clarifying, that getting your steel white is really will require you to make changes in your life. But what prevents us from making this change in our life is this exile mentality that we are afraid of movement. We're afraid to change, so we stay here, even if it's going to cost us our lives. So I'm going to tell you the following. If, God forbid, there is an existential risk, even in the land of Israel, sometimes you would need to move. Learn from Yaakov Avinu. We did not come to this world to die a purposeful death. We came here to live a meaningful life. And if there's no meaning in your life, it doesn't make it where you are. So at the end, we need to remember that the only control that we have in the world is on our brains, on the way we think, and our external reality. We cannot really affect. Whatever around us, we cannot really change. That's why it's pointless to watch the news and to watch this and to watch that. Regardless, of our abilities to or needs to prevent any pain or to predict the future and so on and so forth, right? Or to achieve tremendous pleasure, right? A person that decides, regardless of what happens, I'm always going to be besimcha, I'm going to be joyous, I'm going to find meaning. He's going to be the person who's going to be out of exile, he's going to be free. He's going to find the quality of Moshe Rabbeinu that is inside of him. And then he's going to be able to judge people in favor all the time and deal with whatever life throws in your path. And in a way, wins the paro that exists inside of you. And that's going to be when we say about when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe, boil paro. In other words, coming to your own paro inside of yourself. Coming out to the light from the period of darkness, and then we should be happy. Only if we'll be able to do so. We have to understand. If we're going to be happy, then we are free. If we're going to be fearful, we are not free. Our events of our life is never in our control, and most of the time is not. The only thing it is our control is the way we're going to think and how we're going to be. Nobody's going to force you how to think, and this is completely in your hand. This is why you're free. There are two ways we could also, by the way, bring redemption. We could bring Geulah to Am Yisrael. Either all of us are going to be perfect, which would never happen, or we need to cause that they're going to be merited. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu would going to focus only on what's good inside of them. So how are we going to do so? It's very simple. In other words, we need to awaken the love. We need to awaken the love of us to every single Jew that is out there. It doesn't make a difference what color is skin, what color is hair, what color is eyes, if he's fat, if he's skinny, if he has pimples or doesn't have pimples, if he keeps mitzvot or does not keep mitzvot. A Jew is a Jew, period. There's no such thing, I'm better than him, he is worse than me, or the other way around. I am where I am, he is where he is. My job is to find what's good in him, not what's bad in him. To find what's bad, I don't need to be a bit expert. That's everyone can do. Only when we see the good, only then the good will come. We create our reality with the way we choose it to be. Shabbat Shalom, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.